right, this is Jeff Durkin with wearechangect Connecticut. We just got out of the Jeremy Hammond sentencing out here in New York City District Courthouse. We're here with one of the speakers that was after the press conference today. Mind introducing yourself and telling us why you're out here today?
My name is Douglas Lucas. I'm a writer and researcher and journalist. I've written some on the Stratfor leak, so I was here to show support for Jeremy Hammond and to discuss the value of the Stratfor leak.
And maybe go into that, your speech, and for people who might not have seen it, the effects of Jeremy Hammond's hacking related to Stratfor and other issues like that.
What Jeremy did was he made a giant contribution to our intellectual record, our knowledge base, by supplying 5 million plus emails that span the dates 2004 to 2011 from the Austin-based private intelligence firm Stratfor. And these emails are the internal correspondence of the firm's analysts and spies and executives discussing the knowledge that they have and the intelligence products that they were creating for their clients, such as Hunt Oil, National Oil of Arco, big government groups such as Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Marines, Defense Intelligence Agency, and then the big corporations, Hunt Oil, National Oil of Arco, Dell Computers was one, Emerson Electric. So Stratfor was creating custom intelligence solutions and products for these government agencies and corporations. And so in the emails they were discussing the products they were creating, and in so doing they were revealing a lot of information that the public and journalists don't know or didn't know until the Stratfor leak. And when the Stratfor leak came out, the U.S. mainstream media minimized the importance of it. The Atlantic had an article called Stratfor is a joke and so is WikiLeaks for taking it seriously, published the day of the Stratfor leak. And national security journalist Joshua Fost this week said that the Stratfor leak wasn't surprising and they're no different than a PI firm. But a PI firm doesn't have the quality informants that Stratfor had during the time span of the leak and probably still has, such as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Mexican diplomat Fernando de la Mora Salcedo, a DEA supervisor and pilot whom I interviewed for Who What Why, William F. Dion, who gave them information off a top-secret classified government network about drug cartels. So they had this high-level information flowing around that wound up in the Stratfor leak and was is being researched by journalists, but the mainstream media sort of minimized the value of it. And they did that, I think, in large part because they don't want to do the effort, they don't want to research, they don't want to put together the articles using the material. It's a lot of effort, and also they collaborate with Stratfor behind the scenes. The New York Times Examiner documented how the New York Times collaborates with Stratfor, and as does NPR and some other places, sometimes using Stratfor just as expert quotes, but also helping them write their material, and Stratfor helping them write the newspaper's material. So they don't want to beat up on one of their comrades, Stratfor, by researching the great information in the leak. So some of the greatest hits of this information was the Trapwire surveillance, the revelation of the Trapwire surveillance system, which has been deployed in D.C., Seattle, right here in New York City, in the subway system, where it's very likely that if you see something, say something here in the subway system, your suspicious activity report goes through Trapwire, which monitors and tries to find suspicious behavior in the CCTV camera footage and store it integrated into a database that's tracking us. Some of my research and articles at Who What Why about the Stratfor leak are about the DEA Special Operations Division asking the White House in 2010 for permission to kill the Mexican drug lord El Chapo and also to kill other narcos. We also did one about General David Petraeus, his downfall from the CIA. Stratfor knew that he was probably having an affair much earlier than known, which suggests that his downfall from the CIA may have been part of an intelligence set up by Broadwell, his mistress, who was an intelligence reserve officer, not just a random woman. So we're also going to have one this month at Who What Why about a Stratfor article about Mexican Marine presence in the U.S. and U.S. Marine presence in Mexico. And all the Stratfor articles I've done for Who What Why, WikiLeaks has published new emails in conjunction with their articles. So it's a partnership situation set up, which is really cool. Then one of the points I wanted to make about the Stratfor leak is that there's a lot of there's way much more in there than has been researched so far. And an example of that is not only are there 5 million plus emails, but there are also attachments to these emails, many of which are like hundreds of pages long, and some of them are products from other private intelligence firms such as Oxford Analytica, the Institute of Terrorism Research and Response. So Jeremy provided us information from not just Stratfor, but other private intelligence firms as well, and government intelligence groups such as Department of Homeland Security fusion centers. Some of their products wound up in the Stratfor cache because Stratfor was looking at them. So we have a great deal more information than previously known, and journalists need to research that to show their support for Jeremy and just to get more information out there.
It just shows what you went through there. The valuable information that Jeremy's released, more than just even a hack or anything like that, more of a source of information, like you just mentioned in depth about that. Maybe for people out there, is that a recommendation that, for people out there who may not know about Jeremy Hammond, is that a good way to look into his case and the effects of all Americans?
Mm-hmm. If you look at wikileaks.org/GI files, WikiLeaks calls the Stratfor leak the global intelligence files, you can see a list of releases there that has links to the articles that people have written about the Stratfor documents. You can also look at whowhatwhy.com and find my articles there, or douglaslucas.com/nonfiction. It'll list my articles there. But you can search that way to find what people have written about it. That's probably the best way.
Peaceable assemblies are called unlawful mobs. Distributed denial of service sit-ins on publicly available websites are called cyber attacks. Disclosing documents to a journalist or publisher which reveal government and corporate wrongdoing and criminality is called espionage and computer fraud and abuse.
Of a person of principle who attempted to provide to the citizenry and the public our information that we have a right to know.